Hello and welcome to Fundación Bacalarte. Here in Warsaw, a place that combines contemporary art and musicians. We are here for the podcast called Creative Boom at Bacalarte, and I am Malena Kapica, visual artist and educator, and today with me are
Kazik Nitkiewicz. I'm a trumpet player. I play pre-war music mostly.
and
Barry Solone, actor, singer, songwriter, choreographer, living in Warsaw.
And today, my question for you guys is nature only an inspiration, an object of art? Or, is it an artist itself?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, I can.
Please.
So, is nature only an inspiration for art and an object of art, or can it be art and artist itself?
Okay. Great question.
Yes, my first thought was connected with traditional music. I play a lot of traditional Polish music, and what I can say that I can feel that this music is nature. It's not music. It's very connected to nature itself. You can feel the like the surroundings of people, the villages, the plants, the animals around them, and all the things that are creating their space, and everything is inside this music. So I would say that art and music can be nature as well, and it is. I think so.
Okay, yeah, great. Barry,
Yes.
what's your input to the first part of our question?
Okay. At the risk of sounding a little too clinical, my first response is that I don't believe that anything exists which is outside nature. I don't believe in the supernatural. I believe that everything which exists and which can be perceived is a part of nature, and therefore, art, being within nature, means that nature is both art and artist.
Okay, great.
That's
But
the point.
I would want to go deeper. So,
Deeper than that?
yes,
Okay,
yes,
let's go.
yes, more specific. So, because obviously for thousands and thousands of years, nature was influencing visual arts and musicians or storytellers to provide art for their time.
Cultural art.
Yes. But the question is it only that? Is it only the inspiration? Is it only the object? Or can it be something more? Like, can nature, plants, elements, create art itself?
That's very easy for me. Come on. Whenever I'm at mountains, go hiking, or at the seaside, and I hear the sea, waves, wind, or I can hear the leaves falling, or like just going on the wind, I can feel it's some kind of. For me, it's art, but I can feel it's just the nature. It's amazing. So for me, it's very, very simple. Nature is art. Art is nature as well, and we are the part of it.
I like that answer. And
I like that as well, but it's like
If I-
so compact. I want
You
you
want
guys
more
to
discussion.
I want you guys to open.
Here's the thing. That art, in order to be created, first has to be observed. So, based on our perception, what's happening here, I think, if I could be even simpler, is that nature is creation.
Mm-hmm.
We are observing this creation. So nature is the artist and also the creation itself. We are second-hand reporters. We are only trying to replicate or to somehow illustrate or to express what we have seen already. And so nature is the artist and also the art, and we are observers who are trying to somehow. It's like if you have, as a musician, you try to have an audio file and you sort of have to try to reproduce it, and you produce an MP3. The quality is a little less coming from us in terms of expressing what that art really is. And yes, again, nature is both art and artist, and we, as creative people, do our best to try to re-represent what that art is. We are sort of like pencils and brushes and guitars and flutes, and we are instruments that try to express what that art actually is. So we're not really creating. We've had this discussion before.
Well, yes, we had discussion about making or remaking art. As I said previously, in previous episode, I don't like to call myself a creator. I call myself a maker. But see, because what is interesting for me in this subject, and what I was thinking to like get from you guys, because yes, because we obviously have a different perception of, let's say, in your thought length, recreating that nature, that representing that nature and everything. And obviously, for me as a visual artist, I focus on, probably, I would imagine, different things than you do. For example, I see the plants movement, the patterns of the seeds and geometrical forms and kind of dying and rebirth during the seasons, and I'm focused on how the trees are talking with each other through all this networking and what's happening with mushrooms and fungi from different and how they look, and even though they're from different species or different kind, they still can communicate with each other. So for me, it's I would imagine it's not only visual thing, but it's like a thought process about what's happening with it within the nature, and how do I use that or borrow that for my expression. But you're from the different background, so like I can imagine that you have a different thought behind it, because you're creating completely different kind of art.
You can't imagine that.
Am I wrong?
What I can say is, I think that the biggest difference between like visual arts, especially like painting, graphic, and music is time. I think in music, one of the most important thing is time, and like the process that is going right now, right here, and that you cannot stop, probably. And we are talking about like inspiration in nature or nature in art. I would say that so that's a tricky point, because for me music is mostly emotions. There is a lot of course, like structures and some mathematics inside, but music without emotions for me is almost nothing. I'm so sorry.
No, like that's a great point.
So So emotions with like the passing time, that if you combine it, you can get like, for me, the soul, or the I guess said no. Sorry, I got
Censure,
the
essence
of music, I would say.
Essence,
Yeah, essence of music. So
It's a deep topic, yes?
really deep. I'm thinking about like my inspirations from nature itself, and I'm 100% sure that the biggest inspiration is the emotion that is with me when I'm in nature, when I'm spending a day, like a sunny day in a city, or like a very windy and rainy day, for example in mountains, and I can feel that there is danger, or I'm alone in the world, only stars, and that gives me many topics and motives that I can like place in music. So emotions are nature. Come on, time is nature as well.
Was that so difficult? Like, you started this conversation with like, oh, that's gonna be so easy. We're gonna finish up in 5 minutes.
Actually,
no, I didn't mean that.
well, that would probably defeat the purpose of communicating, yeah?
Yeah.
I think, okay, just with regard to what you said in terms of each of us having a different perception, point of view, perspective.
Yes.
I'm also have been in my life a visual artist as well.
I know.
I'm like a Renaissance artist, you could say. And
I know.
what I've noticed, and this is still hopefully on the same topic, is that as sensual beings, we've been given senses to perceive.
Yes.
And I think this is nature's way of allowing nature to see itself from many different perspectives. In other words, if we only needed one set of eyes, then everyone wouldn't have them. I mean, we have fish with eyes, we have eels with eyes, we have frogs with eyes, we have butterflies with eyes, we have bees with eyes. So these eyes are apparently
important.
It's clear that there are millions and billions of different perceptions of maybe even the same thing. And all of those pictures together would represent what that nature is.
Yeah.
And so, no, I'm not going to argue that we each have a different perspective. However, the actual creation itself and the art is created by nature itself, still, in my opinion. And we are only observers.
I'm not trying to argue with that on that point.
And with regard to this time element, if we look at, you said in music, you know, it's something that has to be captured in the moment. Photographers feel the same way. In photography, there's no moment like the one that you can capture on your film or on your camera. So that very moment is one which is unlike any other moment. And you can take another photograph 10 seconds later, and it's a completely different image.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so I think this element of time also, it's another one of nature's cruel tricks.
Okay.
It can cause, it can be deceptive. So yeah, I'm agreeing with all of everything that I've heard so far, and I'm just not sure what we expected to find in this discussion. Did we expect that none of us would recognize that we're not the creators and that nature obviously is the artist? I mean, because it seems obvious to me.
No, that point was quite obvious. I was interested in like your thought process and how it, affects you as an artist. And so, yes, nature is creating everything for me, but not everyone feels the same. There's people that think that if art isn't conscious, then it's not art. Well, I would argue with that, but...
Is nature conscious? That's the question. Is nature conscious? I would say yes, nature is conscious.
I think so.
Not nature, sorry. Not nature, but art. If art is conscious, and if it's not conscious, it's not art. If it's not conscious creation, it's not art. I would disagree with that statement. I don't think all art have to be conscious and purposeful.
Purposeful. Yeah.
Yes, doing, and it still can be an art outcome. Let's say
Artistic outcome.
artistic outcome. Yeah.
How can art not be conscious? In other words, I'm trying to imagine a situation where art, meaning the creation of art, is not a conscious process.
Well,
I cannot imagine that.
I can give you an example.
Okay.
I have a friend from university. He's a painter and illustrator, and he does that for a job. But the only, I'm not gonna mention his name because I'm not sure if he would want to be included in the podcast. But only his paintings and his drawings that were on European, let's say, art shows and stuff were created by him when he's sleepwalking. And he doesn't remember that at all. And he's saying that he's not conscious.
Okay.
He has no idea. He's taking Adderall and he's just going to sleep, and then full moons happen and he's waking up and
Now
there's
I
like
get
a new, a huge painting
All
in
of a
his
sudden it
yes.
appeared. What do you think of that, sir?
That's a difficult example. I've seen anything like this before, but I was thinking about, especially in music, about the mistakes. Sometimes when you are improvising, you want to play something, but you play something different because you make a mistake. And on one hand, it is a mistake, so like it is maybe not conscious, let's say. But on the other hand, it is a music.
It's still art.
Yeah,
It's still
it's
art.
art.
And it's still a beginning of maybe some other thought that it comes later after that.
I like that.
That's a great example.
I don't know how
I love
about
that.
visual arts, but you make mistake as well. But you can.
Yeah, of course.
That's the
Well,
problem. You can.
that's the thing.
Correct
Yes,
it.
yes,
In
yes.
music, if you
So-
are live, you cannot correct it.
But with visual art, it's quite well. What I'm experiencing quite often is that I'm making a mistake, and I'm getting frustrated because it's not what I wanted to do, and then I take a break because when you get angry at yourself, and you're gonna try to push it forward. It's not gonna go well. So I'm taking time, like a time out, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, drink tea, coffee, whatever. And then I'm coming back to the painting and I'm seeing that mistake and I'm being like, well, this could actually work. I might have an unconscious emotion put in there that I actually needed for this painting. So, yeah.
I love when that happens, when you
Yeah.
can turn mistakes into, you can sort of develop them into other ideas. Malena,
Yes.
here's the thing. Consciousness. We have the conscious, we have the unconscious, and we have the subconscious. So your friend who's painting in his sleep is still conscious.
Do you think
Of
so?
course.
I'm not so sure.
It's obvious that there is a consciousness present. It may not be his ego. It may be his alter ego. It may be his... In other words, we have several different forms of consciousness which exist all at once and in cooperation with each other. And then there's a difference between consciousness and intention.
Good point. I like that point.
So if I didn't do something intentionally, it doesn't mean that I wasn't conscious. It just means that wasn't my intention. As you mentioned with the mistakes. Yeah, mistakes are not always intentional. However, we're conscious.
Yes.
Okay. So no, that's a very good point, Barry. So I should probably rephrase my question.
What? Now?
Yes, I should, because I said, is art always a conscious process?
Right.
So I should probably rephrase that to if art is always intentional. You didn't see that one coming.
Oh, actually, well, kind of. Kind of. That is a different question.
Yes.
Especially if we take the time, the three of us, let's say conscious people, or four of us in the room.
Hello.
Or whoever's in the room with us. Hello, conscious people.
Behind the camera is our director, Beto.
Yeah. Hey, it's Beto. Hey. So all you conscious people, yeah, there is a difference between consciousness and intention. I liked your example because it showed that even when I didn't intentionally play that, first of all, I still did it. It was still part of the art. And I was conscious when I did it. It just wasn't my intention.
Yeah.
So you're not telling me we're going to start this discussion again from the beginning. So what is your question again?
No. It's just, well, I understand that, like, what Kazi said about emotions and all that about nature and him being in nature and processing that emotions into music. But you have broader experience with art from different, No. Well, I would say about your background, like from the visual point, from the dancer's point, from the producer's point.
It's still as an artist, though.
Yes,
So
of course, still as an artist.
Common
but
thing that we have.
well, that's why we're here. But what I was thinking is that so I said that for me it's like the thought and visual thing in nature. For Kazik, it's feelings and emotions that he has. What is it for you that you get into your art?
What kind of a question? Oh my gosh. Yes, I would agree with Kazik that emotions are always involved. Always. Because for me, emotions are a combination of my mental state and my biochemical, physiological state. So how I'm feeling or what I'm thinking about what I perceived or how I'm doing or what's happening is always present.
Yes,
at
of course.
every moment. And then if I decide to pick up a pen or decide to dance or decide to write a song, this is always a result of my emotions. I don't see a way of detaching myself.
I'm not asking
I'm saying,
you.
I'm saying so. Emotion, yes, is my feeling about what I'm seeing or what I'm doing is my inspiration, is the spirit, which causes me to act. So it is connected with emotion and music. In any art, yes. I think, yes, emotion is always a part. I'm agreeing with you on that for sure. For me as well.
But how do you, or if you ever, get nature into your process, into your...
Can I have a question?
Yes.
When you are like saying nature, what's in your mind? Because it's in other hand,
you know,
like the
Somewhere
screen
else.
is nature as well. I mean, come on, it's made with some atoms and all that stuff.
Well,
Still nature,
no,
so.
Agreed.
No, I wouldn't go that far, Kazu. I'm
so
sorry.
please tell us.
that's a bit
Maybe that's the
artificial. No, I was.
Yes. Yeah, I understand you. Come on.
Could you be any more sarcastic?
No, I'm not being that. I'm just really interested in what you're going to say.
No.
That was a great question.
Yeah,
So,
I'm
yeah.
just joking. What I meant was nature as itself. So we're talking about plants and landscapes and fire and
So, but
wind
you
and
cut off
water.
the human,
and-
yes.
yes. I
Without
was
human.
so like I was
Okay.
cutting out the human input into it. I was more interested in
So
what you as an artist are taking from the nature.
Natural environment.
yeah,
Thank
natural
you.
environment.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. So I answered the question like from the beginning. Yeah, so I said like the sea, the mountains.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, so now
you were on a
your
point.
turn.
And now you.
Wait a second.
I like him. He should be here more.
Yeah, he's a very clever guy as well.
Mm.
Talented guy. Okay, so from my natural environment, everything that I do comes somehow from my natural environment.
But how?
Well, I wish I could explain that. I'm not that advanced on a scientific level to explain to you precisely how that process takes place. However, I can assure you that every action that I take is somehow inspired by my natural environment, by the air, by the temperature, by
Okay.
yeah. So I'm always inspired by my environment, and whatever I can take, which I can perceive, and somehow if I can turn it into a few words, I will. If I can turn it into a poem, I will. If I can express it in a movement, you know, if I'm not feeling too old that day, I'll do that. If a musical idea comes because of what I'm feeling from my environment, it's always attached to my environment and my emotions that result from the environment that I'm in. So yeah, I'm not being discriminate about what I will take from the environment or not. Everything that I use comes from my environment as an artist.
Okay, so I would say that you're just absorbing everything that's around you and
Observing.
not at
I'm more like a conduit.
okay.
Like this. Yeah.
All right. So, to finish this podcast for today.
To add something.
Oh, you want?
Please.
Then please go for
In
it.
fact, you can close. You can finish
No,
everything.
no. I just.
Well, I'm not okay with that.
I just had one thought about music because we talk about the influence of natural
Yes.
landscapes. I would say.
For example,
For
yes.
example, and recently, for last 5 years, I work with this like traditional music that was like based in different regions of Poland. So you can imagine different landscapes. For example, the góralska muzyka from the mountains, or
I love it.
Radomska from the land that there are no mountains but a lot of fields or something like this.
Okay.
And on the other hand, you have like the city music as well, that is also old. And if you like engage in playing it and into analyzing it, you can feel a lot of differences between them. And if you are really, how to say, if you like move your fantasy or whatever, you can
Being perceptive.
yeah, you can find their inspirations. That all the music is probably gathered from the landscape. If people lived in city for 50 years, they played in a tempo of the
Urban
automobiles, the trams,
Electro.
exactly. But
Techno.
if they live in a village and they ride horse, they go slowly. But they have
Okay.
Country music.
I like that.
No, actually, you said that
that's-
earlier. That
yeah.
was the point you
But
made earlier. And I agree with that.
I really like how you opened the subject and
At the
actually showed not showed but said what you exactly meant. But oh dear, now I forgot what was my question.
Understood, and I apologize if I seem to be the devil's advocate in this conversation.
I don't mind.
I was really trying to find like the essence of the question, and I think the answer that I just received helped me a little bit to understand maybe what my answer could have been.
Then go with it.
I could have said that, for instance, being in a different environment
Yes.
greatly affects my productivity, how inspired I am to create, and also the product itself, whether it's music
Yes.
or whatever it is. So I am very affected and try, even unwillingly, unconsciously, absorb elements from my environment and try to apply them and use them in the process.
I have a question.
Or as you said, subconsciously.
Maybe.
I have
Yes.
a question. As you, as an artist, have like program yourself to go to the special environment to get a special inspiration. Like, do you think about it before? For example, that I need some more forest in my art, so I go in the forest, or is it just
So you have a need to like explore like different landscapes
question.
and
yeah, but I mean, I'm sorry for my language, but
no,
please.
don't worry.
I wanted to ask, like, are we programming ourselves in purpose, or is it just a coincidence that because we are in the city, so we express the art as a city people, and if we move somewhere, we will change, or maybe we are doing it conscious that I need to go somewhere else to change my art to be more maybe soft, maybe more strong, maybe more relaxed, maybe more
That's
intense.
interesting.
I like that question.
That's interesting. For me, my environment is mostly mental, psychological. So for me, it's more important to have solitude,
Okay.
regardless of where I am, because then I have access to all the visual pictures of all the environments I've ever been in my life. I can imagine myself at the seaside. I can imagine myself in the mountain. I can imagine myself in the club. And so for me, my environment, in terms of to be able to access my impressions of nature, it depends on my own solitude. Like I'm not really comfortable even observing nature very well if I'm in the company of a lot of other people, for instance. So it's like an interference.
I understand. Yeah.
For sure.
I thought about the painters like Van Gogh or somewhere. They moved a lot during their life, and you can feel that their style changed, and maybe not Van Gogh, but someone else.
Well, we can.
You get famous after moving somewhere.
Yeah, well, we can talk about, for example, William Turner, which is a very good example, because what he did, he actually even strapped himself to the boat in a storm to be able to observe how the sea is actually proceeding through the storm and through the whole changes. So yes, there definitely are visual artists that are, if they are inspired by nature and if they're creating or recreating nature, they are going to that extent. For me, for example, it's quite a lot with calming myself emotionally to be able to, make art again. So I need to go back to the nature. I need to go back to the forest. Well, I'm a very water creature, so I prefer to go by the sea or by the lake and just recharge and look at the water and take that comfort from it, and then go back to my workshop and, with a clear mind, thanks to the nature, create back from my emotions, even if I'm taking something visual from nature. For me, nature provides that space and grounding. I would say grounding.
That's a nice. That sounds like me too. I can really relate to what you're saying. I just forgot to mention one thing.
Yes.
As an actor, nature is extremely important. And environment. Now I'm going to switch from nature to environment.
That's all right.
Okay, because in order to really try to capture a character or a mood, or to really understand, to really, let's say, to portray something which is real, it can be very important to put yourself in a different environment.
Yes.
To be by the seaside, to be in that country, to be actually in that natural environment in order to really credibly really express what let's say, a certain person or character may have experienced.
Okay,
So
yeah.
in acting, this is extremely important.
I would say something about that in music is the same. If you want to play exactly this style of music, you should go to the place where it was maybe born on, or it's still like living, and play it there.
You're very consistent. You've been saying that since the beginning, and I can see that it's true.
I think that he really feels that in
clear.
his core that this is because so what I'm gathering from all that you said, that means that every time that you're playing this type of music, for example, that folklore music, Polish folklore music, so do you actually go to that places and like listen to the nature, or listen to the people, or like environment that it was created at?
I think this is like the best way to learn this music, to go exactly there, to meet the people who play it probably for their whole life. And that's the best experience for an artist to get the how to say that, the most true music style.
Authenticity.
I don't know, but maybe.
Yeah, realness.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So yes, I think that's the best option, but sometimes you cannot do it. For example, if I want to play New Orleans music, I have to go there, but I have recordings. That's, I think, a bit
Okay, yeah,
level lower, but still
yeah.
it's
like
a
an
lot.
MP3.
Yeah.
It's not the waveform.
Yeah, but still it's something. You can create your vision, your vision about this style of music. That's
Well, all right. I think that was brilliant. Well, you've been a bit difficult at the beginning, I must say.
Was I difficult?
I think we
it's
were.
just-
It was like
I apologize.
No,
I just
you
wasn't clear.
just
I just
you
didn't
you
understand.
just you wanted to end the subject
know I
very
love you. No, that's not possible.
very briefly, and I was trying to get something
I hope we
va-va-voom from
I
you.
hope we managed.
And now I am satisfied. I pushed you a little bit,
Most important.
but I think that was brilliant. And Kazik, thank you very much for your questions. I think they were brilliant. I hope we will see
Thanks a
you
lot.
back again at
It
our
was
podcast.
my pleasure to talk with you and to listen to you. That was really inspiring.
For me as well. Thank you very much.
Yeah, this
Thank
was
you.
a great episode. Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well, as much as our director, who's smiling constantly. And I see you guys very, very soon. Good night and good luck.
Put on the brakes, free falling with no parachute. Steady frame, talk truth, ain't no narrow you. Misguided thought patterns, emotionless wastelands. Bracing for the worst as we shake hands. Forgotten meaning, daydreaming of our paradise. Aspire to set free your aspirations, power lies. And we haven't even got time to analyze prophecies ancient depicted now come to life.